Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, welcome in, and well, happy October to you here as we are now excited because, well, it's all about, I can't believe it, week 6 here of the college football season, and that is where we are out. Want to thank you guys for hanging with us. We got 3 games that we want to break down for you here. We're going to do it with 3 of the very best as we say hello and welcome into Tony Mejia, Mr. Dave Cokin, as well as Mr. Ralph Michaels in the house. Gentlemen, welcome in here. And Mr. Mejia, what's new and exciting with you, my man? You got a lot going on tap. I know you do.
I do. Lots of videos this week. Thrilled to be in on Bet On It with some props this week as well. So getting some NFL done. Went 2-0 on props on Monday night, but it was an awful weekend. Can't even sugarcoat it. Worst college football Saturday I've had probably ever. So we'll look to bounce back. But all my numbers were fine. No excuses. Hurricane actually gave me more time to prep because I never lost power. Just results did not happen on the field. Expected Clemson to lose. They didn't. Multiple other things like that. But like I said, you know, there's a bunch of weeks in the season. You're bound to have a stinker. We're in bounce back mode.
Yeah. Not that you are, but you know what? It's a very long season here. And Ralph Michaels, welcome in here, my man. Week 6. And listen, UConn won a game. Good Lord. UConn won a game, Ralph Michaels. What do you got in store for us coming up this week?
Yeah, easy for you to say, Ralph.
Yeah.
You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Ralph. Come on.
Yeah, you are.
There we go. Perfect.
There you go.
Just so everybody doesn't hate me, the fire alarm people are going around. So if you hear that shrill, I don't have someone tied up in the other bedroom. It's actually the fire alarm people going through the complex and checking it. You know, working on college football and excited to have a midweek game that we're going to talk about. But I'll tell you what, I'm putting out some notes. I'm midway through a college basketball guide, which is right around the corner. So can't wait to talk with all 3 of you guys on college basketball tip-off, which is about a month away.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it. It's kind of crazy, but I know not only NBA, college basketball, NHL just around the corner, and nobody been more profitable than Dave Cokin over the years. So in addition, Dave, of course, to college football, the NFL, NHL, and college hoops just around the corner. A very busy time of year, one of the most profitable times of year for those of you that follow along. What else you got going on for us?
It's good right now. I'm really doing well in the NFL. College football has been good the last couple of weeks. I'm happy with the way things are going. I want to know why you can't believe it's week 6 of the college football season. I mean, it would be unbelievable if you were to say, well, I can't believe we're doing week 3 over again or something like that. It's a natural progression. After week 5 comes week 6. I don't know why you can't believe it.
Listen, Dave, I just learned I'm apparently in a fantasy football league, and I'm starting Jameis Winston, nobody told me about. So
nice.
Apparently I'm 0-4 there. So I'm losing all sorts of track of absolute time here. But you know what? 3 games going on here we're going to break down in the show. One of them Wednesday this week, guys. A little bit of a screwy schedule with these 2 teams. Obviously, the Hurricane played a big role in it, but we're going to take a look, guys, and start off with UCF back at home taking on SMU. Opened up with UCF minus 363.5. This is Wednesday this week, guys, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Tony Mejia in your backyard here, my friend. Gus Malzahn and company. What do you think?
I think that the bounce house won't be bouncing like it normally does because there have been, first of all, a lot of season ticket holders won't be able to get to this game given that it's on a Wednesday instead of a weekend. They were originally going to do it on Sunday afternoon at 1, then switched that. Orlando wasn't really hit as hard as other places in Florida, but did experience some flooding. Orlando's UCF campus is the largest in the state now. So there are a lot of people, a lot of students from different parts of the state, including those that were most affected. So I think the student turnout will be lower. So from that standpoint, UCF loses some of its home court edge. And looking at my notes, the home team is 6-2 and 8-0 against the spread in this series, UCF and SMU. So SMU's dealing with some attrition because, and we'll see this around the country now that we're 4 games in, guys that aren't happy with their roles are taking red shirts and transferring out. So SMU has dealt with a little bit of that. 2 of their safeties are leaving the program. So a little bit of upheaval there at SMU. I was going to back SMU in this game, actually, because UCF's passing has been so wishy-washy with John Rice Plumlee. Really, I mean, relearning how to play the quarterback position. Originally, he was a quarterback at Ole Miss. Matt Corral was there, so he switched to wide receiver to get it on the field because he's such a great athlete. But now, again, trying to be a quarterback, and his instincts are a little off. Georgia Tech, they should have beat Georgia Tech by 30, 40 points. And because of the fact they couldn't pass the ball, they didn't cover the spread, kneeling on inside the 10-yard line, much to the chagrin of those who were on the nights that day. But the bottom line is, this is a weird game because UCF's preparations were stifled due to Hurricane Ian. The fact that it is a Wednesday does help them out because they'll be able to get some reps in on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But again, not the home field advantage that they expected. SMU comes in with a passing game. Tanner Mordecai, Ross, one of the better receivers in the country. So UCF's D-backs, who have held up really well, have a monster challenge ahead of them. This is a game I'm going to stay away from. But yeah, not your conventional, not the game that we expected as one of the better games in the American this season before both of these schools go to the Big 12.
Yeah, Dave, how do you factor in the delay, the out of routine for UCF? How do you look at it?
I think it benefits SMU because they're off a tough rivalry loss. They were fired up, big crowd for the Iron Skillet duel against TCU, which they lost. So they've got extra time coming out of that. I want to talk about the transfer thing. Don't overrate this. Okay? Because you are going to see a bunch of guys, and I think SMU's lost 4 guys who have decided to transfer out. And you're going to see this throughout the country. But it's not going to be big-name players. It's guys who have lost playing time and have dropped down the depth chart. So it's like, okay, I'd rather have those guys gone. Okay? They could, unhappy players can disturb team chemistry. So when I saw the headline, SMU, multiple players transferring, it's like, oh, geez. Then I looked to see what it was. It's guys whose playing time has dwindled or they weren't playing at all. So don't overrate that. I don't think it's a big factor at all. In fact, it could be a positive for some teams, and I think that might be the case for SMU. UCF has to run the ball to be successful because Plumlee's he's a crappy passer, okay? He's not a good quarterback. He's a good dual threat guy, but he can't throw. If SMU knows this, they're going to try and shut down the UCF running game. I think they can have some success doing that. I think the Mustangs go in and get a win on the road.
All right, liking the Mustangs get the win on the road. It's a great point. Usually you don't hear about guys transferring that have started every game during the year. Right. So it's usually the unhappy ones, guys that fell out of favor. So no harm, no foul there, Ralph Michaels. But it is a little odd, little extra preparation, a little out of whack for this UCF team. How do you account for it?
Well, I'm going to go on a 30-second rant on Dave's point. One transfer that irks the hell out of me is Bachmeier at Boise. You're a starting quarterback. Everybody has supported you. You play on a team. You play 4 games. You play like crap, your team loses to UTEP, and you transfer out as a third-year starting quarterback. That bothers me because all those kids supported you for all those years, and you let them down.
Well, yeah, but I want to interrupt, Ralph.
Sure.
Boise State is all right. It benefited Boise State immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, the offensive coordinator's gone. McLaren's gone. They went out and played their best game of the year, by far, their best game of the year. If you got unhappy guys, get them the hell out of there. They're bad for team chemistry. And Backlair can go someplace because he'd lost his job. So I can't knock the kid transferring, and I think it actually benefits both him and Boise State. So there.
And my point is it's the best thing for him too, because he needed a reset button. They were booing him every time he touched the ball. They wanted to see green play. The Boise State fans. You know, it's what have you done for me lately in college football, period. And so he needed a fresh start. Also, let me correct myself. SMU is not going to the Big 12. It's Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, and BYU. So SMU will stay put, but I just wanted to clear that up.
You want that 30 seconds back, Ralph?
No. Again, I'm not saying it's not right, but Bachmeier's part of the reason, throwing 52%. So I still have an issue with a player being able to start 4 games and then being able to transfer because he played crap. So that doesn't change. Dave's point of Boise playing a great game is taken very well. No problems with that. This team, okay, Mordecai's going to pass. We know that. Can UCF stop the pass? Tell you what, they've held foes to 48.7%. They have stopped the pass. Mordecai has thrown 4 interceptions the last 2 games. That is a concern, but those were Maryland and TCU. I did want to look up. SMU had a 520 to 439 edge at Maryland, loses the game. They had they were just outgained by 10 yards. So if you've played 2 opponents and you were basically pick 'em and you were outgained by at least 100 yards and you lost both of those games outright, those teams have gone 57.4% in the 3rd game. So you might think it's a negative, but it hasn't been a negative as far as the database goes. A funny thing reading about this team today, DC Scott Simon said, I have nightmares about Plumlee. Last year, he was the DC at Liberty. Plumlee was the wide receiver at Ole Miss. Plumlee had 7 receptions for 110 yards against Simons. Obviously now he's stopping them against the run. You guys talked about the quarterback situation. He's completing only 58%. I'm going to say this. To me, it comes down simply this. Can SMU stop the run game better, or can UCF stop the pass game better? I have more faith in Mordecai against that pass game and SMU's defense against Plumlee as quarterback. I'll have a light lean with the Mustangs.
All right, leaning towards the Mustangs, guys. And again, that game tomorrow night, Wednesday, with UCF and SMU. We'll move to a Friday game. We'll head to the Big Ten. And, of course, this is going to be an interesting, a new-look Nebraska team here. -3, fresh off a win against Indiana, taking on Rutgers at home. 48.5 is the total. Nebraska, a road favorite. Boy, look at what one win will do for you. Schiano and Rutgers don't win a lot of games at home, Dave. At least they haven't in his tenure. What do you think of what you saw from Nebraska? Are you impressed enough to think they should be a road favorite here?
No. Defeat Indiana. Big deal. Indiana stinks. They're just a terrible team. I don't have any faith in Nebraska. I don't have any faith in Rutgers either. So, you know, I like SMU. Okay. I neglected to mention something in the SMU game, which is that Central Florida was actually lucky to beat Jeff Collins and Georgia Tech. Oof. They're not very good, okay? So a little more affirmation from SMU. You guys can dissect this Nebraska-Rutgers game. I wouldn't bet this with Tony's money.
Oh, I can't. I like SMU. Talk to me, Tony Mejia, since Dave's betting your money here on Nebraska Rutgers. How are you looking at this game here? Is that a coin flip? Is Nebraska really a 3-point road favorite? Should they be?
Well, I agree with Dave that beating Indiana does really nothing. And so if you put stock into coaching, which you should, then the answer to that is no, because Rutgers does have a proven coaching staff. Schiano knows what he's doing. You know that. Nebraska's coaching on these kids, really rallying around Mickey Joseph. and celebrating like they won the Super Bowl because they beat the Hoosiers. And now they're facing a road atmosphere, and we'll see if they have a little revenge on their hands, because Noah Vedral, the Rutgers projected starting quarterback, hasn't been around all season due to an upper body injury. Finally did debut against Ohio State, ran around for a little bit, didn't really play much, and now is called himself day-to-day. He's a sixth-year quarterback. He actually started his career at UCF and then ended up at Nebraska with Scott Frost and the quarterback guru that he brought with him over there, and is now at Rutgers, has been for a couple of years. So, he may play. If not, it's going to be Simon, the kid that ended up being a third stringer, but you see he's got talent. He's got an arm. But it's a young Rutgers team. I wouldn't bet this game with Ralph's money or Dave's money, so I'm staying away. Just to give you a little bit of info on this game, Nebraska's averaging, giving up 32 points a game. Can Rutgers score that much with a young offense? We'll see. They've got a true freshman at running back in Sam Brown. Will we see points in this game? Their secondary is completely banged up, but I still think Schiano can fix that. I don't trust Nebraska at all. Their rush defense still ranks last in the Big Ten by a lot in yards surrendered per game, despite the fact that they only held Indiana to 67 yards on 23 carries. So that's 2.9 yards a carry, and you're still worst in the Big Ten at stopping the run. Isaiah Pacheco is obviously not there anymore, doing a great job for the Kansas City Chiefs. But if Rutgers can run the football, they can win at home. Will I bank on that? No, I won't. So this will be a stay-away game for me as well.
Ralph, I got to ask you, Schiano 1-10 in home games while at Rutgers. So there's home field advantage, and then there's this. I don't know what this is, but have you found anything positive trend-wise for either of these two teams?
Yeah, Rutgers covered a Big Ten home game. Oh, covered one Big Ten home game in their last 9. Oh, that's right. I'm going to add a little bit more to that, Joe. Rutgers has lost 20 straight home Big Ten games.
Oh,
so can you back Rutgers? No, you can't. And Simon got banged up last week too. Vedral had to come in and finish the game. He didn't even throw the ball, so you don't know who's going to play quarterback. I will say one positive on the Nebraska side, and maybe it's not a positive. It just might be an anomaly. Obviously they jettisoned their coach before the Oklahoma game lost. They did get rid of their DC in the last game, and he changed the schemes. And the kids talked about how now they get to play free. Well, after allowing almost 600 yards per game, they did hold Indiana to 290 yards, 67 yards rushing, and 2.9 yards per carry. So we'll see if that was an anomaly or if this team is playing better. I'm going to wait and see. But like these two guys, it's a game we're talking about because it's on Friday. But I cannot back Rutgers. The one positive thing I will say this for Nebraska, and it's not really a positive, it's just maybe me being stupid in the summer. When you go through a coaching change and you fire DC and you now have a team that's going through a transition, I wanted to go back to look what my numbers were in the summer to see how strong I had Nebraska versus how strong I had Rutgers. If I look at my opening numbers in the summer, I actually would have Nebraska as a 10-point favorite in this game. So the talent on the field says, yes, they should clearly be an away favorite. Does one win against Indiana at home prove that they can be in that role? No, because remember, this is their first true road game of the season. Their only other game away from home was the Ireland game against Northwestern, which they lost 31-28. So unfortunately, it's going to be a 3-person pass on this one, unless you're going to pull out your wallet and actually bet some of your money on this game.
Listen, I just lost money on a fantasy league that I didn't even know I was in. So I'm out. We're already betting Mejia's money, so I think we're good. Plus, I like SMU. Let's move on to game number 3 here, guys. And this one, maybe, just maybe, will pique the interest of some folks here on the panel, as Tennessee will be taking on LSU. And LSU was, I guess they were grateful that Auburn's incompetence gave them the game there last week. But Tennessee, a little extra time to prepare for this. 4-0 in a season, 3-1 against the number. Very profitable here, going in as a favorite to this game. What do you think of this one, Dave? Are you buying Tennessee as the favorite in this one.
I actually haven't bet on this game, and if you want my selection of the game, it's available right now at WagerTalk.com. I put it up as the $9 Monday selection. It might still be $9 or $15. I'm not sure what the price is today, but that's a good play. I will give you another game that I like as the best bet, although I like SMU. I mean, SMU might. No, I'm not.
No, I know.
I think I might end up betting SMU. I haven't put it on my card yet, but it might get there. I'm not betting Nebraska, Rutgers. I am betting Tennessee, LSU, but you got to pay for something. And I'll have another game in best bets that I can talk about, and I think it's a pretty good play.
Guys, I mean, head over there right now. Dave's, you got the great opportunity to get there. It was his $9 Monday best bet, his page at WagerTalk.com. Go see exactly what he likes in his Tennessee LSU game. And while you're there, take a look at the opportunity to hop on board for his full NHL season, guys. Nobody has been more profitable at Wager Talking the NHL than Dave Cokin. So check that out while we go to Tony.
Actually, I got Brian Leonard. Got to call it straight. Brian Leonard is the #1 NHL profit earner over the last 5 years. I'm number 3. I got no complaints with that. And the figures are really good. And I've got a 5% over and under points prop. But just to be transparent and accurate, Brian Leonard is your #1 NHL profit winner over the last 5 years here at Wager Talk.
Yeah, he crushed it last season, too, as well. So opportunities, guys, for you to hop on board right now and grab those discounts with the opportunities there on these full season packages. Jump on in. Tony Mejia, talk to us, my man. LSU, Tennessee here. A little extra time to prep for this game. What do you think we're going to get here from the Vols?
Oh, you guys cut out a little bit.
Oh, no, yeah, Gad, what do you think of the Vols? Tell me, what are we going to get in this game?
Yeah, that was Ralph's fault. It was Ralph's fault. You didn't cut out.
Tell me you like SMU, I'm out.
No, you know what? I'll be cheering for UCF, but I will not be betting that game. I don't know what it's going to do total wise, what it's going to do game wise. We shall see. At least UCF special teams are pretty good. Look, LSU has been just a really disappointing team. Not that Brian Kelly was going to change that culture overnight, but I think all the receivers are disappointed with Jaden Daniels, his inability to get guys the ball. Butte just played with him last week. They should have lost Auburn. They were down early, obviously. Won 21-17. The New Mexico win, they covered late on that game, and it was really, they were going through the motions there. Their most impressive win was at home against Mississippi State, and they're back home here. I mean, do you put stock in the fact that this is their 4th home game in 5 weeks? I mean, that'll be a boost because there's some familiarity there. Guys might be more comfortable at home at Tiger Stadium in Death Valley against a Tennessee team that's clearly better and more polished in what they want to do offensively. Hendon Hooker, 45 touchdown passes and just 2 interceptions as Tennessee's starting quarterback. So he's clearly got a grasp on that offense. Josh Heupel's doing a really nice job implementing that. And although they got backdoor covered against Florida, they made the plays they needed to make in that 4th quarter to win that game, put themselves in position to cover before Richardson stole it late. I was on the receiving end of that one, so it still hurts. But yeah, I think Tennessee's clearly the better team, should be favored, probably gets the job done. And again, the fact that Justin Fuente started Braxton Burmeister over Hendon Hooker at Virginia Tech tells you why he doesn't have a job anymore. So
yeah, well,
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Ralph, what do you think here? Josh Heupel, Tennessee, it's not really Brian Kelly's team yet, but do you think he's got enough confidence to fend them off?
I'm actually going to make a comment opposite what Tony has. I actually think LSU has impressed me more than I thought they would looking on paper. Yeah, the Florida State game was the first game, but, their defense has held 4 of 5 opponents to a season low. Their offense has had a season high at 3 of 5 opponents. And that's even, without their star quarterback, who has 7 receptions on the year. Kelly talked about how Butte and Daniels just haven't clicked yet. Neighbors has 22 receptions, and Thomas has 12, and Taylor has 14. So, Yeah, it's part of the defenders double teaming them and leaving other guys open. But I look at Tennessee, and every coach usually says this. Oh, the bye came at a great week. I've never heard a coach say, oh, the bye came at a crappy week. But, Hooker being banged up, Tillman being banged up, it certainly does help them. I am a Tennessee fan. They're a fast-paced team. They're number 18 in plays run. I think that will help. LSU's faced slow-paced teams. Auburn, the amount of plays Auburn ran was 70, but that was at the high side. New Mexico ran 33 plays against them. Well, your defense really didn't have to work if they were only on the field for 33 plays. And Mississippi State did run 64 plays, which is about average. I look at Tennessee, and I am happy to back them on the road. I think the offense is good enough. I think the defense, the weakness in the Tennessee defense is in the secondary. That's obviously where LSU's having issues with Daniels completing. He's completing 68%, but if you look at his yards per attempt average, it's very low because they're all dink and dunk. I will lean with Tennessee off a bye. I do have one stat. I went to the database. LSU got outgained last week, 438 to 270 against Auburn and won that game. They had 85 pass yards, going 10 of 26. When a team gets outgained by 150 yards and wins the game, are they normally overvalued? Yes, they certainly are. In the next game, they've gone 25 and 50. That's 33% against the spread. This is a situation where even though I have LSU up from the start of my power ratings, I think they are actually coming in overvalued because of that win with that 270-yard total performance last week.
Good stuff there. Mejia, I got a stat for you, too, here with Josh Heupel. 3 years, I think, at what, UCF? 2 now here at Tennessee. He is 18-2 against the number in the first half of his games that he has coached. That is crazy because they come out firing, make no mistake about it. And they're going to be coming out firing against LSU for sure, guys. All right, we got 3 games here we broke down for you. Quick reminder, if you head over to WagerTalk.com, Dave's got a Tennessee LSU best bet up there right now on his page, not to mention opportunities to hop on board for the rest of this college football NFL season and to hop on board for the NHL. Tony Mejia locked and loaded, ready to go here across the board in college and the NFL. And, of course, Ralph, he's ready to go, guys. Visit their pages at WagerTalk.com today. And now let's go around the horn. And, Dave, I'll come back to you because you said you did have a game outside of what we talked about here. Tell us.
I want to talk about the game in Lawrence, Kansas, between TCU and KU. The college football world descending upon Lawrence this weekend. ESPN Game Day is going to be there. I mean, this is a huge event for Kansas. It's a basketball school, but this is arguably, I think, the biggest game they've had in, 20 years? I don't think that necessarily is going to work in their favor. Kansas has been it's a great story. The coach is sensational. He's got an extension on his contract. They're going to have to fend off offers from other schools at the end of the year. Well, they are.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to get, his agent's going to get
He's
close.
gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going or not, but be that as it may, he's going to be in demand. Here's the downside. The expectations coming into this game are bigger than they've ever been for Kansas. This is a proving ground game. They were not good against Iowa State, particularly in the fourth quarter. 4 of their last 5 drives in that game were negative yardage. They won the game because Iowa State had me as their kicker, okay, or somebody with my ability, which is not good. I thought they showed some signs last week that, this has been a fun ride, but now we're stepping up in class. They got away with that. Now they've got to face a powerhouse. I don't think, you can look at this and say, well, TCU is off the Iron Skillet win over SMU, which is a big game. Then they beat the crap out of Oklahoma, which is a big game. and you'd say, well, this is a letdown spot. It would be, except for the fact that they know that ESPN is going to be there. It's a big deal.
Yep.
It's a big deal. And the road team gets fired up for this as well. I don't think there's any way TCU is going to overlook Kansas. And I think they're just simply too good for the Jayhawks. Probably a competitive game, but I think TCU is going to pull away and win this by double figures. Horned Frogs are my best bet here on the show.
Yeah, listen there. You know, Kansas is one win away from being bowl eligible. I mean, if you would have told them that ahead of the season,
Story.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that's what it's all about. The little guy does win every now and then. What do you think, Ralph? Which game you gonna break down for us as the best bet here?
I'm gonna back whoever Dave tells me he likes in Rutgers and Nebraska.
I like SMU in that game.
And he's still using Mejia's money, so we're good. You're good, Ralph.
All right, let's see.
I like Rutgers if it's a basketball game.
Yeah, I like KU too.
Yeah.
Let's see. How about we just bet against Iowa's offense again? I am going to back Illinois. I do like Illinois. We saw what Bielema can do when he has the rush game going. They're averaging almost 200 yards per game. They're averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Yeah, Iowa can slow down the rush, but Iowa's defense, which to me is completely underrated. They're allowing 229 points per game. They've held 4 out of 5 opponents to season lows. They're holding opponents to 43% completions, and they're holding them to 70 yards rushing, 2.5 yards per carry. So how much do I think Iowa can score? Well, I'm in a freaking generous mood. I'm going to give them a field goal. So I am going to simply this. I am going to back Illinois. Iowa now going on the road. This is only their second road game. Their other road game was at Rutgers, and they put up 277 yards. The total's 36. There's only one way I'd go in that, but I'm going to use Illinois as my best bet on the show.
Going to Illinois.
I have a quick question. Is Ferentz finally in hot water? The program's going
He
backwards.
better be.
Okay.
He better be, is right.
The thing is this, Dave, probably before this season, his son was in position to just take on over.
Yeah.
He might have just blown that all up as well, where with this kind of season, luckily he beat Rutgers, and he beat South Dakota State, because if he was sitting 1-4 with those 2 losses, I think he would be totally. But, yeah, a couple losses here at Illinois, at Ohio State the next 2 weeks. You never would expect Ferentz to be in hot water, but I agree with you. He's very close to it.
Well, let's see. Bielema got Christ fired. Now maybe he goes in and whoops some ass. Iowa, and see you later, Ferentz. What do you think, Mejia? What's your best bet for us here today?
Well, I think Ferentz has got his 25th anniversary coming up next season. I think they'll let him coach through that. But he's got to get a quarterback. I mean, it's just the stubborn nature of throwing Petrus out there, knowing what you've been seeing, time after time. All right, I'm going with modern-day hate.
We said this last week. If you're a good quarterback, why would you possibly even consider going to Iowa in that offense?
There you go.
Really. And
when your 2 starting wide receivers left to go to Purdue just to get the ball thrown to them.
Yeah, they left. Yep. Unreal. Go ahead, Mejia. Oh, look at that. I think he's so enamored with that game. He's frozen.
And
there he is.
He ends up getting Paul Chris fired.
Yes, that's what I mean. It could be 2 for 2 this week.
Well, we shall see. My best bet is on Modern Day Hate, which is one of the better rivalry names in the country. It's Georgia State and Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern, if nobody saw it over the weekend, probably the best play of the weekend was Coastal Carolina's C.J. Beasley jumping over a defender standing between him and the end zone and scooting into in for a game-winning touchdown. 38 seconds left. Coastal won 34-30. They're not as good as they were last year, but they find ways to win. And Grayson McCall really playing injured, but Coastal is winning. Georgia Southern gets to rebound with a rivalry game, so I think they will show up here. You can blindly bet against the fact that this will be a Clay Helton big game, and he loses those all the time. So this is his first big game at Georgia Southern against Georgia State. I prefer the under on this. Georgia Southern does not run the triple option anymore, but the total of 68 really threw me. I think this is going to be a tighter game. Coming down to the wire, I think Georgia State pulls it out late because Helton's the coach at Georgia Southern, and it's lower scoring than the 68, which has been bet up from 65.5. So it's a contrarian play for me here, but I will go under the 68 points in modern day hate Georgia State, Georgia Southern.
I thought for sure you were going to go UConn for a winning streak. All right, here we go. Illinois laying 3.5 is what Ralph Michaels like. Keep an eye. Brett Bielema getting it done. Mejia likes Georgia Southern, Georgia State. I don't expect a ton of scoring here. Under 68, while Dave says it's a great story, but, man, is it a tough spot for KU football. He's back in TCU. Lay the 7 for Sonny Dykes and company there on Saturday. And don't forget, Dave's got a best bet in the Tennessee and LSU game available for you right now. Tony Mejia, he is ready to go here with a few best bets are up, as is Ralph Michaels, NFL and the college football landscape. Best bets are locked and loaded, guys. Visit all three of these gentlemen, Ralph Michaels, Tony Mejia, Dave Cokin, over at WagerTalk.com. Best thing to do, those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages, guys, never miss a play. And more importantly, get the plays instantaneously, which means you got the best chance at getting the best number. Visit all three of them at WagerTalk.com. All right, that does it on behalf of Tony Mejia, Ralph Michaels, his pen, and Dave Cokin. We appreciate the time, guys. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, download our brand new WagerTalk TV app in your app store on your smart TV, and make plans. Come back and join us again tomorrow. We'll break 3 more games down for you. And until then, on behalf of all three of these gentlemen, best of luck with your plays this week, guys. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.